Hey, what is up, lovelies? It is Lynn the Gacha Goblin, and something unthinkable has happened. And if you are not aware about this yet, I'm very surprised that you haven't seen it. But if you don't play Infinity Nikki, then you probably wouldn't even see this happening. So, Infinity Nikki is a game that is also created by INFOLD Paper Games, and they got some sort of reply back from INFOLD, in particular to their concerns about the game, how their recent update was being handled, and so on and so forth. And clearly, this has caused some sort of reaction from all of the Love and Deepspace players who have been wanting some sort of communication from INFOLD about our concerns with our game. And to see Infinity Nikki get this whole apology letter has rubbed the Love and Deepspace player base in the wrong way. Now, I want to explain what happened. I also want to give my take on it. And I will say, I feel like my take might be a hot take on this. That being said, please do listen to the whole video and I will explain why I think so. Alright, so let's go over onto Twitter. I found this out because Luna here tagged me. Imagine them posting this for Lads fans. And I was like, what's happening? I scroll up and I see apology letter. And I'm like, Infinity Nikki? No shot they gave us, they gave these players an apology letter. An apology letter regarding version 1.5 gaming experience. I was like, what the heck happened? So I did a little bit of digging, and I also wanted to kind of go over this apology letter. And then once we have a better scope, an understanding of why this apology was, sent out, then probably we can then talk about my own viewpoint as to why we haven't gotten an apology letter, okay? Alright, now, first and foremost, we have to understand that Infinity Nikki is an open world gacha game, okay? You traverse a wide, range of places, pull for outfits, have a storyline, very much Genshin Impact, but you get to pull for clothes. Right, and it's very cute, very fun experience, and it is a new game that came out last year, at the end of last year, I think. And there has been a huge fan base for this game, women and men. Men have also found this game very entertaining too, so they have been playing it as well. And yet, the way that their fan base is treated is a little bit different than how the Love and Deepspace fan base is treated, clearly. So I read this apology letter, right? And what my understanding is, there were things that did not meet the expectations of the player base. Particularly, things here, like fixing key issues. There is a new collab, what's like a co-op gameplay. There is a DIY dress up section. There was really bad like interruption connection issues on PC, mobile, PS5 platforms. There were a lot of things that made the game basically unplayable for many players in terms of optimization, and also there were things in the game. Hey lovelies, this is editing Lynn right now. I just stumbled across something while I was scrolling through Twitter, and I saw one of the bugs for the Infinity Nikki, the thing that, INFOLD basically apologized about. So this was their 1.5 update. This is the photo function in Infinity Nikki right now. It jump scared me, guys. This jump scared me. Oh my god, okay. So, beautiful, absolutely stunning, really, really, really nice, right? Amazing outfits, photo, mannequins, the models. This scared the crap out of me. So this is what was the people, the players have been seeing, from the allegedly amazing 1.5 update. Clearly, INFOLD had to address this because this is unplayable and mildly terrifying. Okay. Yeah, yeah. I was choked when the snapshot happened. So, yeah, I could see why they had to make an apology, but they had to wait until it was so bad that they made an apology. Anyway, I just wanted to showcase this. This is crazy. I'm gonna probably stick this in somewhere. So, yeah, that's the bug. Ooh, that's one of the bugs, okay? One of them that didn't really work. Like here, so like fixed an issue where the piece floral dreamscape of the outfit flowing colors had an incorrect category after glow up. There were like mistakes in the actual release of this update that made it very difficult for people to even play the game, especially since they announced that you could play it on PS5 and all of these new supposedly optimizations for the game. But it all fell short, and a lot of players were very upset with how this game basically performed in its update. And honestly, if I was a player of Infinity Nikki, like if I was a consistent player of Infinity Nikki, I would be really put off. It's kind of like the launch of Wuthering Waves. If anybody is familiar with that, the launch was completely not okay for Wuthering Waves. A lot of people couldn't connect into the game. A lot of people couldn't play it or run it. There were mistakes in game as well with the different functions that you were supposed to have in order to make the game run seamlessly, and that is basically what happened for the 1.5 update for Infinity Nikki. There were things that they added into the game that messed up the whole experience for the players, and that I feel like is a major thing that they have to address. INFOLD had to address this. They had to apologize to its player base. They had to address it one way or another because they failed to please their audience. Now, let's look at Love in Deepspace. Love in Deepspace, in every update that we've had, the game works seamlessly. I want to say seamlessly. There are a little like tweaks here and there, but the game works. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is a completely different kind of game versus Infinity Nikki, which is available on different platforms, is an open world gacha game, again, like I said, is now functioning with co-op features, which is absolutely crazy. And Love in Deepspace only performs on one platform, and that is mobile devices. It has a more simple gameplay structure. It's not open world, it's not even turn-based, it's not even semi-open world. The only part that you get to move around in really is the battle aspects, which when the game was launched, that was already built up and that was already stable. The functionalities of the game make it so that way it functions well. The things that we're complaining about, showing concerns about in the game are the grinding, how it actually functions in terms of like leveling up and whatnot. Those, they probably see that as not an issue because they haven't addressed it for almost a year and a half already, which is very sad, and unfortunately that is what we're looking at. That is the facts right now. They don't see that as something that they're going to change in any way, shape, or form. But maybe they make like band-aid fixes with the heartfelt gif or all of those things, but it doesn't look like their goal is to make it easier for us to grind in the game, which I hate to say. I absolutely hate to say, because they could have done that. They could have given us something that would have helped us grind in the game if they had made the Abyssal Chaos something worth doing every week or every 2 weeks. But no, they didn't do that for us. They wanted us to basically pigeonhole us into spending for packs and spending for pulls and spending for all of these different things. Love in Deepspace is truly their cash cow, okay? It is their cash cow, and they're taking they're probably taking profits. I don't have any proof, guys, but if you're a business, if you have a cash cow that's making a ton of money, it makes sense that you'll take a percentage of that profits and delegate it to other projects that you have to keep everything else running. So it makes sense that they're taking probably some profits from Love and Deepspace, considering they're making close to $1 billion in 1 year since its release, and funneling that into different projects that they have. And that is very disappointing to say. I know it is really crap that's the way that this is going, but like Infinity Nikki had way more issues in terms of gameplay and functionality that Love and Deepspace, Paper Games had to address it. Love and Deepspace has worked from day one in terms of functionality. In terms of playing it and, experiencing the leveling up process or experiencing the love interest and what all, those all technically worked. The game is functional. It is playable. Is it fun to play? That's a different answer. And I think that is, subjective to each individual. And if you look at, the CN player base who are happy to be whales in this game versus the global player base who are unwilling to spend as much as the CN players, you can see, the CN players are probably, they're the ones who are truly funding this game. And maybe that's different for Infinity Nikki. Who knows? I don't really know. I've never really looked into the gacha revenue for Infinity Nikki, but it doesn't make anything close to Love and Deepspace. That's why I'm saying that Love and Deepspace is their cash cow. So that is my hot take. Like, I know, guys, I am the advocate for wanting positive changes in this game, but looking at the blatant facts in front of me, okay, it is clear that if the devs and the executives maybe of INFOLD wanted to change the structure of Love and Deepspace, they would have done it last year, alright, within the release of the game or something. But no, everybody was happy to spend in the game, so they didn't change anything. In Infinity Nikki, it was basically very difficult for a mass amount of people to play it with the 1.5 update. So they had to apologize for that. Love and Deepspace functionally works as an app, as a game. Is it the best game? Probably no. Is it the most predatory? Probably yes, if you look at the gacha revenue. That's how it goes, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I think that that's how the company thinks. Is that how the player base thinks? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We can see from different people's perspectives what they think about, other players getting this, like Infinity Nikki players getting this huge apology, right? Encouraging apology, one that is very heartfelt, to the silence that we've been getting from Paper Games with our community for Love and Deepspace. This is one of the, this is a funnier kind of reaction to the apology, which I wanted to save. So I was tagged by Maestra Mayhem. That's an awesome freaking name. She said, real though. And then I was like, lads players, Infinity Nikki players reading the dev apology. I was like, oh man. Oh man. Yeah, we lack so much communication with the company. It is so sad. And I really wish that we had some sort of, clear communication with the devs or with the company itself. If they would just acknowledge our frustrations. They could have even released some sort of statement saying, hey, we're listening to your feedback, we're thinking of solutions of how to, make your gaming experience better or something like that. They could have addressed us in that way. I mean, would it be nice if they had fixed everything from the get-go? Yes, of course, but expecting that out of this company right now. After a year and a half, almost a year and a half, it doesn't look like anything's gonna change right now. And I'm saying almost a year and a half, realizing it's April, but turning into May. So May, June, July, we're like a little bit there. But yeah, it's very frustrating. It is frustrating because we know that they could have said something, anything to its player base about anything that has happened in the past. There were so many situations. There was the translation issue. There was what was the other one? There was the boycott for Catch 22 with the different hairstyles being separated from the outfits. There was just like a handful of situations where people could have had a direct acknowledgement from the company. The very first boycott of Love and Deepspace, they had just released the heartfelt GIF. They didn't even apologize or acknowledge that the fans were boycotting. They didn't acknowledge that the CN fans were also upset. There was no official statement. The only time, we know this, okay, the only time Love and Deepspace has an official statement is if it pertains to vegetables, okay, to literal vegetables. That is the only time that they want to say anything. And that already frustrates us because they only reply when there are legal issues. They only make public statements when there are legal issues, or potential legal issues, right? That's the only time that they make, like, public on every server, on every platform. They'll make some sort of statement. But on regular statements, we only really see the ones that are translated from Weibo or from XHS. They don't post those stuff over on the global side, which is kind of annoying. I wish that they would, post it everywhere, but they don't. It's very, very frustrating, to be honest, that this is happening. And we also have another person who is genuinely pissed off at INFOLD, and I cannot blame Mads. Okay, I cannot blame Mads. This truly shows this FS game is actively choosing to ignore us and won't take the time to address anything we voice our concerns about. All we have asked for is communication, yet you are incapable of doing it for us, but will do it at the drop of a dime for infinity. Yeah, F you. I completely understand this. I completely feel this. I really, really do. Again, the beginning of this video is me explaining everything from the company's point of view, but as a player's point of view, this is very disappointing. It is very disappointing, very disheartening to see that they don't give a rat's ass about our player base for Love and Deepspace. So, I wish they would be more open with communication. They simply are not, and I have no idea why they aren't. It is incredibly frustrating, and that's what disappoints me the most. Okay, that is what disappoints me the most about this. So, that is my 2 cents. I wonder what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments below. Hopefully you listened to the entire video. I am not taking INFOLD's side. Look guys, I'm gonna put a timestamp in the comments. Some people just don't watch the entire video. I am not taking INFOLD's side. I was trying to explain to you their point of view. My point of view is that we should just have better communication. That is all I really ask for. Do I want them to fix all of the issues right away? Again, it would be amazing if they did, but I know that's not reality. That's not going to happen. But at least acknowledging players' feedback would be nice. Instead of just constantly ask us, hey, do this survey, hey, do this survey, hey, do this. Like, okay, we're doing surveys, but are you changing anything? So, or are you at least addressing us? You're not, so that's my concern. That's where I stand. Alrighty, well, hopefully you've listened to the whole video. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think about this. Is this an issue? Is this not an issue? Do you care about this at all? Or does this not bother you one bit? That I want to know what everybody thinks here on YouTube, because people on Twitter, on Reddit have different opinions than the people who watch on YouTube. It's quite interesting to see the divide, although it does make it complicated sometimes replying to comments. Alrighty, well, thank you all so much for watching. I am Lynn, the Gacha Goblin, and I will see you lovelies in the next video. Bye bye now.